By far, one of the most common questions I get, not only on this channel, but in real life is, what orthotic should I buy for foot pain? And although that is a little bit of a loaded question because there are so many different things that can cause foot pain, there are so many different foot types, there are so many different personal preferences and use cases, and more importantly, there are so many different orthotics out there on the market. And although I've always said on this channel, there is no one best product, just the best one for you, there is one very specific orthotic that I have recommended and prescribed more than any other combined for all foot pain. And it might not be for the reasons that you would think. Let's get into it. Now to say right off the bat, this video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I have done sponsored orthotic stuff in the past. This is not one of them. Obviously, I want to be as objective as possible. If I'm telling you which orthotic that I am prescribing the most out there, that's something you probably want to stay objective about. Well, with that being said, the orthotic that I prescribe most in my office is the PowerStep Bridge. Now the PowerStep Bridges are not the most expensive orthotic on the market by a long shot. They're not even the most expensive in the PowerStep lineup. I think these run for $35 MSRP, maybe a little more tax, a little bit less if you have a coupon or they're on sale. So these are by no means one of the most, like say, quote unquote, premium orthotics on the market if you're looking at it in terms of price or in terms of, a bunch of bells and whistles on them. The thing they have in them, that one of the big reasons I prescribe them so much, is they have such an intuitive design. It is really simple. It is a basic exoskeleton. It's just this plastic composite exoskeleton arch. And then it's got a giant slab of eTPU on it. And then honestly, a really, really super breathable upper material top cover on these. Now, this eTPU, if you look at it, it looks pretty similar to something else I'm sure you've seen in that. It looks, it's like Adidas Ultra Boost. And on the microscope, kind of looks like that too. It feels like Adidas Ultra Boost. It feels like kind of like a Jet Boost type, very, very elastic, very, very springy feeling eTPU. But with that eTPU, it's also super, super durable. Now you look at the exoskeleton on these and it's got these giant holes in them. And I usually hate when orthotics have holes in them. I've kind of changed my tune as composite materials have gotten better and better. And this is one of the reasons I've changed my tune about holes in orthotics. Now you look at this thing on the tensiometer and how many newtons it takes to completely flatten this orthotic out. It takes 81 newtons, which is just a hair less than the PowerStep Pinnacle, which is PowerStep's kind of like flagship orthotic, and one that I also talk about a lot. That takes in the mid 80s, these take 81. Now that is compared to a super stiff orthotic, which takes well into the 100 Newton range to get them to go. And those are super stiff orthotic. The thing is though, I've been wearing the Bridges, God, for maybe, it's been over 3 years in my shoes. I don't wear custom orthotic, and you can see these. I've kept the same ones in my work shoes forever now, because I just don't use them for that much. Like I'm not walking in them. I'm just kind of going up and down to the front desk and the back. So not a lot of heavy walking. But for 3 years, a little over 3 years, honestly, they look pretty good. Now I did the tensiometer on my 3-year-old ones, took 78 newtons to get these things down flat. So honestly, the durability of it is pretty good. I'm not a super light dude either. And so just, being up and down in them for 3 years, to me, that's pretty good. Now, the other thing that these have that I think makes them, like I said, I'll get into specific foot pain, in a little bit, but the thing that makes them so comfortable for so many people is not the arch height on them. The arch height is honestly, it's pretty similar. It's 2.2 centimeters, which if you compare it to some other more stiff orthotics, they come in at like 2.5 centimeters. So it's similar, but it is lower. The thing is though, it's a much longer arch. These come in at 12.4 centimeters of arch length. So it is just a super mellow arch on here. And that's why so many people tolerate these so well, because it's such a gentle sloping arch. Now another small but mighty reason I like these so much in terms of just general foot pain for so many different ailments is that they don't heat up. Right? The top cover on these is so breathable. It stays so comfortable, even if you are in really hot, humid conditions, even more than, the Pinnacle, right? Like the flagship line here. To me, these just breathe exceptionally well versus something here, like if you're getting another like more comfort with, any sort of like P-Lite or anything on top of it or Plastizote. This just traps heat like crazy. There's other orthotics I've had, like I said, just that top cover can get like real soupy and just, it kind of heats the shoe up. Whereas in these, it reminds me of some of the more super premium breathing Ortholite top covers where it does keep your foot feeling pretty cool. So especially in someone that's an athlete that needs something for a little bit, less heat production, these can really do a small but mighty job in your shoes. But before I get to the pros and cons of these for specific foot pain, specific foot ailments, the biggest reason I prescribe these so much is because these are just as good for people that have never worn an orthotic or orthotic naive, and people that have been wearing orthotics forever. Because if you've never put an orthotic on in your life and you go to put one on, I'm sure you know if you're watching this video, is at first, a lot of orthotics can be pretty sore, right? Because what an orthotic does is it makes your foot function more efficiently. It makes your muscles in your foot, especially the intrinsic muscles of your foot, where are they? The intrinsic muscles here in your foot fire a lot more efficiently. However, when they start to fire like that, it's like lifting weights for the first time, right? You get a little sore. And these ones, yes, they do that. They provide fantastic contour and it's nice and mellow, but they just have that little more flex in them. The top cover is a little bit more forgiving, that transition into orthotics is just that much less jarring, right? Or severe to a lot of people. And for people that have structural abnormalities in their foot, especially for people that have a super high arch in their foot. And so when your arch is shaped like this, or you just have a rigid foot, you could have a rigid flat foot too, but when your foot is rigid, you just don't have the capacity to adapt to something new underfoot or to compensate. And that's where having something with number one, really, really forgiving foam, but also an arch that is just that little bit more forgiving, not floppy, not flat, not nothing, but that just has that little bit more forgiveness. When you combine that to someone with a rigid foot, it's just something that they can deal with so much easier. So you're still getting the support, right, for all these different foot issues, which we'll talk about. But if you're someone that just can't tolerate other orthotics, this is one that you can tolerate. And that's why I prescribe this so much. It's for people that, number one, need to start wearing orthotics that maybe are a little more stiff. And so I'll start them on this, get them used to the orthotics, and then maybe build them up to something like, a custom orthotic. It's a little bit more rigid, or something that has more bells and whistles on it. But they start off on this, get their foot used to it, and then they can get the benefits of a stiffer orthotic. Or someone that just needs that, semi-flexible control. And that is honestly the majority of the market. Most people can treat foot pain with a more semi-flexible device. They don't need super rigid. Some people do, hypermobile flat feet, things like that. Hypermobile high arches that just completely pancake. You'll need something a little bit more. But in terms of the pros and cons, these for more specific issues, if you're somebody that needs maximum control, right? Hypermobile flat foot, like I just said, hypermobile high arch, just your foot's just a loose bag of bones, right? You're gonna need something with a deeper heel cup. You're gonna need something with probably a stronger, higher arch on these things, or something with a bigger lateral arch on these things, an arch on the other side of the shoe too, or other side of the orthotic. So for those types of people, you're probably gonna wanna go custom or something with a deeper heel cup in them. Now, if you are someone that needs a very low profile orthotic in your shoes, but wants a deeper heel cup, this is actually kind of like a quote unquote off-label use of these. Because this thing has a hole in it and an exoskeleton, once you break these in, you actually do sink into these a little bit. So for a lower profile orthotic, you actually can get an artificially deep heel cup. But getting into a lot of the more common and specific foot ailments, in terms of flat, neutral, or high arch, I think I went over this. But if you're flat-footed, obviously it's gonna give you that, semi-flexible, control. Someone that's neutral, that doesn't want your foot to be as tired at the end of the day, I think honestly, this is where I think these shine the most, because something just for more foot resilience and anti-fatigue, something that allows a little bit more spring, has a little bit more rebound with this, allows your foot to kind of do its own thing. I think that's one of the better use cases. High arch feet, that's why I use them, because my foot can tolerate this level of support and I actually like that level of flexibility. So for neutral and high, I think these are much better. For a pancake flat foot, which we'll talk about in a second, they're good. You might want something a little bit more stout if you're someone that suffers from hypermobility. In terms of an ankle sprainer, honestly, I think they're fine. They're so low profile in the shoe. You do get a little bit more proprioception from them versus something that's super high, that's gonna, decrease the mechano and proprioceptors in your foot. So honestly, I think for ankle sprainers, these are one of the better ones out there. In terms of plantar fasciitis, yeah, absolutely, I think they're good. Now, if you're someone that's getting plantar fasciitis from hypermobility and that twisting like crazy, then you're gonna probably want something a little bit stiffer. Now, if you're someone that's getting plantar fasciitis, you've got a component of bursitis on the bottom of your foot. So that little sac of fluid on the bottom of your heel is inflamed. You get that pinpoint tenderness. And it's maybe from a harder pair of shoes, from pounding up and down all the time, or from increasing and decreasing your weight. Maybe you're fluctuating weight. Then I'd say this is one of the better ones on the market because you get the forgiveness right, of the eTPU and the hole in the heel here, but the semi-flexible arch support. In terms of Achilles tendonitis, yeah, I think they're great. Number one, because they're not super high off the ground, so they're not gonna cause equinus or a tightening of the heel cord, but they're gonna give you, like I said, just enough support in there so you're not pummeling through and everting the kingdom come and causing strain on that Achilles. In terms of forefoot pain, honestly, I think these are one of the other reasons why I use these so much. Not only is the eTPU on these so good for the forefoot, but because that exoskeleton being so strong here in the forefoot and so long that you get so much more coverage going into your distal arch. And that's why I like that so much, because it gives you so much more coverage into the forefoot. Plus you can modify them so easily. You wanna learn how to do that? I got a whole ebook on it, check that out. In terms of arch pain, yeah, I mean, of course, they're orthotics, they're meant for it. I will say, if you, like I said, if you are hypermobile, got a pancake flat foot like this, and you're super hypermobile, your foot resembles like more of a loose bag of bones here, right? You just do this all the time. You're gonna want something a little bit stiffer. But for the majority of the population, they're not super hypermobile, right? Just a little bit of foot tiredness, right? Foot fatigue, then these are fantastic. In terms of big toe arthritis, honestly, they'll be okay. They're gonna be better than most generic orthotics because, like I said, the arch is so long, so they'll cover that big toe. But if you got big toe arthritis, you might want something more custom or that has a Morton's extension or reverse extension, something like that. So I would say they are okay, but if you're someone that's suffering from really debilitating arthritis, I guess I should take this out. I would say if you're someone that's suffering from mild big toe arthritis, these can be modified really easily, but someone that's suffering from end stage, and you're gonna want something stiffer. In terms of knee, hip, and back pain, honestly, I think this is where I get the biggest indication, is because people will come in and say, yeah, my foot is just a little bit, but my lower back, my shoulders, my neck, my knees and my hips hurt. And that's where I think with the shock absorbing capability of these, the semi-flexible nature of these, the long arch of these, the mellow arch of these. But now that I look at this grid, I'm starting to realize I think it's the knee, hip, and back pain. It's the reason why I prescribe these so much, more than anything else, because they stop the torsion, they can stop that abnormal pronation, but they have enough flexibility, enough forgiveness, enough anti-fatigue in them, enough shock absorption, enough comfort to where so many different people can deal with them, so many people can tolerate them in so many different shoes, right? Even lower profile shoes that don't fit other orthotics. And I think that's why, right? Even especially for people that just can't tolerate the stiffer and stiffer orthotics. But speaking of, if you do want to see one of those orthotics that is really, really stiff, you're someone that wants a little bit more of that super stiff coverage, that super stiff arch support, these are, I can't get over this. These were the #1 selling orthotics on Amazon. I didn't know they existed until I saw that they were the #1 selling orthotics on Amazon. So you want to see what those orthotics are? Make sure you click into this video above. If you're going to check these out, make sure you check out the affiliate links down below. I'll see you in the next video.